Many people argue that Naples is the best culinary destination in Italy, a city famous for being the birthplace of pizza, as well as many special pastries, and also for having a unique coffee culture. I just returned from Naples after a very short trip, and I must admit that compared to all the other Italian cities I visited, the food in Naples was much better. In this episode, I'll take you on a fast tour around Naples to show you what you could eat over there, so don't go anywhere. Even though Naples is home for 1 million people, the busyness of the streets make it seem that there are at least 10 million people living there. Wherever you look around, you see people, more people, and more Vespas, and people on Vespas, everywhere, all around the clock. The electric atmosphere of the city is so unique, with the unexplainable worship of the soccer legend Diego Maradona, all the Catholic shrines, and the old staircases with a favela-like atmosphere in the old city, packed with murals and many forms of street art. This kind of harmonious chaos is so typical of some Arab cities like Cairo, for instance, which was really confusing for me to see in the heart of Europe. There were thousands of shrines, murals, posters, and miniatures paying homage to two men mainly, Jesus of Nazareth and Maradona of Argentina. Wherever you go in the Spanish Quarter or in the historic center, you will see an endless number of Christian shrines. As the birthplace of pizza, it's almost impossible to find a single bad pizza in Napoli. Neapolitan pizza, which is recognized by the UNESCO as a part of the intangible cultural history of humanity, is a whole different experience. The dough of the pizza over there is simply out of this world. The ambient taste of basil infused every millimeter of the dough, and the tomatoes' taste and acidity were so balanced in a way that makes you wonder how they managed to do this so perfectly. Mozzarella di bufala from the Campania region is a major item in the Civic Hall of Pride of Naples. The San Marzano tomatoes growing in the volcanic soil near Mount Vesuvius, and the exceptional fermentation methods of the dough will guarantee several disappointing pizza experiences for a lifetime to follow out of the city. Just like French macarons are sold by the sides of the roads in France, pizza napoletana is sold on the sidewalk in Napoli. It was both surprising and hilarious to some point. Like you think of all the cliches about Italy, locals speaking with exaggerated hand gestures, Vespas covering the roads, and lots of pizza. And all these cliches were an identical snapshot of the street life of Napoli. For this video, I went to two pizza places to review. The first was more authentic and on the cheaper side, and the other one was a bit fancier and had multiple appearances on the Michelin Guide over the last few years. I also had the chance to try the small pieces of pizza available everywhere in Napoli that had the diminutive name pizzetta. One thing that all these forms of pizza had in common in Napoli was the excellent taste of the dough. Every bite was oozing with freshness and a golden balance of chewiness, thickness, and texture. The cheaper place was called Annare, and I can confidently say that it was one of, if not the very best pizza I've ever tried in my life. The other fancy place was called 3.0, and I tried one of their trendy, unorthodox pizzas called Black Angus. It had slices of Black Angus carpaccio, stracciate or torn buffalo mozzarella, yellow cherry tomatoes from Vesuvius, and of course, extra virgin olive oil. Their pizza ferments for 36 hours in total. 24 hours of fermentation and 12 extra hours of proofing with a high dough hydration of 70%, making the dough have a cloud-like texture, which is so typical of Neapolitan pizza. I even had to pause chewing a few times just to comprehend what was going on. I never tasted a dough that was that fluffy. The pizza in that place was prepared in front of the guests, and it was extremely fast. I just ordered, went to wash my hands, and by the time I was back, it was right there on the table. The other Neapolitan pizza specialty is pizza fritta, or fried pizza. This pizza became popular after World War II when the city was struggling with economic hardship and traditional pizza ovens were hard to operate due to fuel shortages. This pizza is a pocket of dough with fillings inside. The base layer is topped with tomatoes, cheese, or ricotta. Then they add another layer of dough, seal it very tightly, then deeply fry it until crispy on the outside and soft on the inside. Watching the process of making fried pizza is quite amusing, especially when the pizza dough bubbles up in the hot oil. These people take mozzarella cheese quite too seriously. The derivatives of the buffalo milk are quite cherished over there, to the point that you find ads of mozzarella in the airport with women posing with cheese balls and all. Another memorable experience from the airport was the boiling hot coffee in which the spoon melted and deformed. For someone like me who lives in a country with one of the most despicable coffee cultures in the world, that was quite satisfying to see. The coffee in Napoli is a bit too roasted, even for people who prefer stronger roasts. One coffee place that you must see if you visit Napoli is called Gambrinos, right in front of the Piazza del Plebiscito. It was such an experience, especially with the servers wearing tuxedos and the decoration that was Vatican fancy. People in Naples love their espresso. Even the iced coffee there is something else. It's more of a thick slush that you can scoop out with a spoon. By being a Mediterranean coastal city, seafood is a main pillar in Napoli's kitchen. They have pasta with clams like the spaghetti alle vongole or polpo alla luciana, which is octopus with tomato sauce and hot pepper. But the thing that I enjoyed the most, and I think would be great to integrate in other Mediterranean kitchens, is the cones of fried seafoods known as cuoppo. It includes squid, shrimp, octopus, anchovies, and sometimes vegetables, mozzarella bites, or fried dough balls with seaweed. I heard a lot about the pastries from the region of Campania, but I never imagined to find one of Europe's best pastry shops here in Naples. Not only that, but this pastry shop is located in the heart of the infamous mafia hotbed part of town, the Sanita district. It was confusing to find that place over there on many levels. The first reason was the chic exterior and interior elements surrounded by the messy and dirty streets, ridden with unemployment, poverty, and migration. The mafia presence there is no joke. That part of town was one of the most notorious in Europe just a few years ago, with murder scenes on the roads and other nasty happenings. Apart from the very encouraging appearance of the pastry shop, they had amazing inventions that the owner, Ciro Popella, made himself. The first and most famous is snowflakes or fiocco di neve. With an extremely unassuming appearance, these heavenly brioche globes filled with a secret recipe of ricotta cheese are among the top things I tried in my life. It was so addictive that I went there twice, daily. Even at night, right before the flight back home, I bought a box of these balls and ate it in bed like a pig. They have three types of these snowflakes: the classico or classic, which is filled with ricotta cheese, the second is with pistachio, and the third with chocolate. They also had an unforgettable lotus roll that I'm sure would put a lot of other pastries out of business. Their finishing of famous Campanian desserts like delizia al limone, for instance, was substantially better looking and tasting than other places in town. Italian sweets follow the same structural principle of fried or baked dough and the luscious creamy filling like sfogliatelle, maritozzi, cannolo, and cannoncini. Sfogliatella originated in Naples and it has two versions. Riccia, which is crispy and layered, and frolla, which is a soft bun. Riccia, or the crispy one, is made of puff pastry, and the filling could be pastry cream, chocolate, or almond cream. Apart from the Campanian desserts like sfogliatelle, zeppole, graffa, and delizia al limone, Neapolitans are obsessed with babà or rum, which is a French dessert inspired by a Polish cake called babka pączowa. Unfortunately, I wanted to try it, but I couldn't because it had alcohol in it, but I really wanted to because it was literally everywhere. And all these similar pastries that you find everywhere can only tell you one thing, that people there are really connected to each other and also to their city. This kind of identical pastries that you find across the city reflect a strong bond between Neapolitans and their town. Maybe it's a bit too early to conclude that Naples is the #1 culinary destination in Italy. But personally speaking, I am very underwhelmed by pasta in general, so I will never favor places like Rome or Bologna. And as a Muslim person, I couldn't care less about the wine of Tuscany. Also, the food in Milano was a little bit too mediocre for me. So there's a very high chance for Napoli to be my favorite food destination in Italy. This episode was in no way, shape or form a full coverage of the food of Napoli. There are still many items to try and to talk about over there. I might travel again soon to film more things. Until then, thank you very much for watching and see you soon in more videos to come.